thank you to Softr for sponsoring this video. Airtable is a great place to organize business data. But if you want to turn that data into a real operational app with a database, workflows, permissions, forms, and a polished user experience, Airtable might not be exactly what you need. And there's also a big pricing difference between Airtable and Softr, depending on what capabilities you're looking for. Airtable has been around for a long time. It is strongest as a collaborative database and internal workflow platform. Here's the core difference between the two tools, and then I'm going to go into a lot more detail later in the video, covering where Softr is strongest, where Airtable is strongest, comparing Softr databases versus the Airtable bases, Softr workflows versus Airtable workflows, the pricing comparison, and in which situations you're going to want to use Airtable, and in which situations you're going to want to go with Softr. The core difference is that Airtable is built to be a collaborative database for your team and an internal workflow platform, while Softr, on the other hand, is meant to be an all-in-one business app platform, combining the back-end databases, user authentication, the front-end app, and workflows all in one platform. Here you can see inside the Softr interface, we have databases on the left, we have the database tab, workflow tab, forms, and applications. And then applications can pull in data from databases, can be controlled by workflows, and can pull in data from forms as well. And then these applications can pull in data from the databases and be controlled by the workflows as well. So you have that all in one platform. Here's an event app that I built for a previous video about Softr. Check the link. Check our channel to learn more about Softr and how to build with it. But if we go here to the top tabs, you can see we have a data tab. This is the database, basically, the Softr database. And this is comparable to an Airtable base, for example. But what's cool is it's not just a database. This database is powering our front-end application, so it's all integrated together. And then for workflows, you can have triggers based on that database, for example. So if there's a record added here, we're sending an email. That's just an example workflow. But there's a ton of triggers that we can have for our workflows here, including email received, webhooks. So you can get pretty complicated and pretty advanced with the triggers and the workflows that we create inside of Softr. You can also add branching and logic and filters in our workflows. This is going to be familiar if you have ever built in Zapier, for example. And as I shared before, you can build the portal, build the interface on top of the data. Now here in Airtable, you can see we have a somewhat similar interface where we have our base here on the left side. And it is really good for having a collaborative database with your team. There is also automation. So similarly, you can have triggers based on database updates, webhooks. So you can get pretty advanced as well with Airtable. It is a pretty mature platform. And while we do have interfaces in Airtable as well, and you can build with AI, which is pretty cool, the difference is these interfaces are really meant for more visualizations and showcasing your data in an interface, as opposed to the more full business app interface that Softr has. So it's kind of the biggest difference here is these interfaces here are in Airtable are really meant more for insights, management, and things like that versus the user kind of business app that you can build with Softr. And then you also have forms as well with Airtable. Similarly, we have forms in Softr. So what that means is where Softr is going to be strong is when you need to have people logging into your app, and maybe you want to show different things to different users with admin control, things like that. So in Softr, it's going to be really strong for things like client portals, CRMs, dashboards that you want to have clients looking at that data. But you also can build dashboards more similar to Airtable, which is interfaces for your management team, for example, inventory tools, or member portals for a member program. So that's just some examples of some of the business applications that can be built on top of Softr, but obviously each specific use case is going to be very unique to the business itself. So jumping back into Airtable for a second, Airtable is a mature product. It's been around for a long time, and it is excellent for hands-on data work or collaborating with your team on large data projects. Similar to Softr, you can have relational databases connecting to each other. You can have advanced formulas, rollups, custom views, PI access. But Softr databases, on the other hand, are powerful when you want it to power an app. So on pricing, I'm going to show you pricing as yearly, but you can also look at it as monthly pricing. But the basic plan is $49 a month. That gets you 20 app users, 50,000 Softr database records, and then we have credits to actually build with our AI, so building apps on top of our data. So that's $50 a month for 10, and then it can go up a little bit more if you need more credits to build with AI. And then the price goes up to $139 and $269 if you need professional or business, which gets you more app users, more AI build credits, and more Softr database record credits, and more workflow actions. So you're just getting more as you go up in price. If we jump to Airtable, the pricing starts at $20 per seat per month. So if you have a large team, that can get pretty expensive. And then $45 per seat per month. So again, that's per seat in your team. You're going to get 50,000 records per base with the $20 a month plan, and then 125,000 records per base with the $45 a month plan. But the biggest thing is that you're not getting that ability to build the app on top of the data. This is really just for the database records and then workflows on top of it. But the main difference is this per seat pricing, which can get really expensive as you're adding more team members to your Airtable team. So going back to Airtable, it's really strong if you want the most mature product that's been around for the longest time. It's going to have the most integrations, the biggest community around it, just because it's been around for a really long time. If you really only need to work inside tables and views, it's great for teams that need that. And if you need enterprise scale, it has something called HyperDB, which can support up to 100 million records. That being said, Airtable caps records at 120,000 on most plans before enterprise. So the jump to enterprise is a significant one, but it is there if you need it. And again, on pricing, if you are only one person and you're the only person accessing the base and you're only going to use the database, then Airtable would be the cheaper option. But if you have a whole team, like let's say you have 10 people that need to collaborate together, then Softr can save a ton of money. It can be a huge difference in savings. If you have 10 people, now all of a sudden you're paying $200 a month, even for the basic or like the lowest plan on the paid plan versus $50 a month on the Softr plan. So it can really save a lot of money in that sense. One example, one real world example, is there's a content agency named Animals. They manage 30 freelancers. They built a Softr portal on top of Airtable. So they were using Airtable. And this is actually what's cool is another thing that you can do is use Softr with Airtable. So you can keep your data inside of Airtable, but instead of having to invite 30 freelancers into Airtable to collaborate on the table, on the base, you can actually in Softr, if we go into the app that I created and we go to the data tab, we can actually import Airtable databases inside of Softr. And this is huge and allows us to build the portal, the user portal. And this is what this example of this agency did, is they built the portal on top of their Airtable bases and saved over $700 a month. So there's a lot of different ways you can think about this. You can use Softr on its own. You can combine Softr with Airtable, or you could stick with Airtable if really all you need is the databases. And if you're working just on your own, that could be the cheaper option. But if you're working with a team, if you want to have business apps built on top of it, that's where Softr can save you a lot of money and provide more functionality. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you now have a better understanding of the differences between Softr and Airtable, as well as some of the similarities. Click the link in the description to go to Softr, start building today with it on your own and see what you think of it. Leave a comment below. I'd love to know what you think. And subscribe to our YouTube channel to get more free content like this. AI tools are changing so quickly. There's so much to learn about AI, and I'm sharing everything I can with you as I learn it myself. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.